Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Zenith Grand Chronomaster Open XXT. This El Primero powered Grand Chronomaster on full bracelet can be seen and purchased on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images, and naturally full pricing details for this Chronomaster XXT Open. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This watch pulls a Houdini act. If you'd asked me, will a 45mm full bracelet Theirry Nataf era Zenith fit on your 16 centimeter wrist, Tim? I would have said absolutely not, and shame on you for asking. But yet here it is, a perfect fit, squarely situated on the flat of my wrist with no overhang. In fact, you can see the bracelet even flares out a little bit. I could size down a bit. I could wear this watch on a 15 centimeter wrist. And this watch is special to me because it's one of the first Zenith models I ever encountered in person in the US, and in the early 2000s they were still as rare as hen's teeth on a rooster in the United States. So this watch stayed with me mentally, and it's still important to me to this day. Let's talk about the bare measurements. 45mm across the round of the case, not including the pushers or the crown. Somehow the watch doesn't wear that large. In terms of thickness, it's actually reasonable. 14mm thick. You'll note the generous triple step of the case flank, bezel, and the sapphire means that it's easy to ramp a formal cuff or tight sleeve up and over this watch. If you want to wear it with dress cuffs, you're going to have no trouble at all. Now from lug to lug, again, it shouldn't work, but it does. With the bracelet outcropping, it's 55.5mm from extremity to extremity, and on the wrist with full bracelet and clasp, this watch has a mighty physical impression. Hefty, satisfying. It's what you imagine a big steel sports watch would feel like, and I think it's almost like the paradigm of premium watch with respect to mass and class. That impression stays with you, eyes open or closed. Now the bracelet is very substantial, and I'm going to show you some of the highlights of it because it's nicely made and it adds a dimension of value and substance to this watch that you don't get with a strap. Even though I prefer straps, you need to consider this bracelet right here. Now you'll note that it features polished intermediate links, it features polished shoulders, it features polished flanks, and yet it also features satin, and you can see the contrast to good advantage here. The way this light simply lights up, explodes on the polished surfaces and glows softly on the satin surfaces. That's the beauty of nice metal work. That's what you can get with one single metal without resorting to two-tone if the people who are designing the watch and finishing the watch put in the time, and Zenith certainly did. The clasp is substantial. You can see it's not a spindly chassis. These are not spindly swing arms. It's very nicely built, very large and heavy, which is good because it anchors the watch from the bottom and provides a sort of keel to the mass of the watch head, so it doesn't want to capsize on the wrist if you wear it loose. You can see the beautiful case back in the Zenith El Primero caliber 4021. More on that in a moment. You'll also note broad channels underneath the links, so this watch has no tendency to pinch skin. It's nicely channeled in that respect. Ergonomically, it's excellent. Now the case is a bit baroque, but it combines elements of the pre-Theirry Nataf Zenith from the 1990s with some of the best elements that Zenith gained under Nataf. Nataf actually did some things right, and almost all of them are embodied in this watch. He created solid, not hollow lugs, luxurious, oversized cases that looked right proportionally, taking the stepped lug and bezel look from the 1990s Chronomasters, translating them into larger case sizes that were nevertheless wearable on smaller wrists like mine. Understanding the immense power of a dark dial and a white metal, this watch is available in steel. It doesn't have to be precious metal, even though the Chronomasters were often the headliners in the Zenith catalog. And you'll also note the use of Roman numerals, a sliding scale for the Reserve de Marche, the handsome open aperture giving you easy access to the caliber 4021's open escapement. This is like getting 90% of the visual excitement of a tourbillon for 10% of the price. This was perhaps the greatest single addition Nataf made to Zenith design language. Copied by absolutely everyone after its 2003 debut, it remains something of an enduring classic, and it's still in heavy rotation in Zenith's modern catalog. Now, everything about the dial is handsome. Its only drawback, perhaps, is that there is no luminescent element, so you can't see it in the dark, but this is more of a bold dress watch, a sporting watch, perhaps, that can be worn in many different sartorial scenarios, whether you're wearing long sleeves or short, long pants or short. All I can say for sure is it's not a dive watch, but hopefully you have a different screw-down crown Zenith, preferably a vintage rainbow, to wear for that occasion. Now, you also note there's a gold hand for the Reserve de Marche, and because the 52-hour power reserve is still fairly short by contemporary standards, though solidly more than the industry average of 42, it moves quickly when you wind it. The El Primero is beautiful to watch in action. Its 5 Hz or 10 beat per second escapement is still double step cool, and you can see the seconds, constant seconds tri-spoke spinning off the 4th wheel right next to the escape wheel. On the case back, you can see all elements of the movement. It's a beautiful forest of metal pieces: blue, gold, silver, violet. Everything about it is gorgeously composed, and even though the finish is machine wrought, it's still a solid echelon above the likes of watches costing considerably more, for instance, from Zenith's LVMH stablemate Hublot. And of course, it is a column wheel, crisp operating chronograph action, fully integrated automatic winding. Again, 52 hours may not be terribly long in an era where even an Oris could have a 10-day power reserve, but it is still more than the average chronograph in this class. And again, with the column wheel, it's crisp to operate, and as an El Primero, it has that wonderful heritage as the first integrated high-beat automatic chronograph, originally launched in 1969. And yet, still going strong, it's considered to be the mechanical reference in the chronograph caliber class. You can see and you can purchase this combination of old and new, perhaps one of Zenith's timeless modern classics, and a future collectible on our website.